the presentation I'm going to give, I've noticed from some of the video that you may have gotten the idea that there are differing opinions about mercury and whether or not it's a cause for concern. So I thought that the appropriate title for my topic would be Mercury Cause for Concern. Right. Some of you might be thinking about, well, what is mercury? Mercury is actually a liquid metal. Its atomic symbol is Hg, and here is a sample of mercury itself. It is a liquid silver metal.
Isn't that the type of water on something?
No, it's not. It's not the type of water on some planets. It's not water at all. Okay. It looks kind of like the liquid metal from Terminator 2, or even the Silver Surfer. Okay. I don't know. It is actually a very dense metal. It is 13.5 times heavier than water. Okay. It might have had a mercury.
Is mercury toxic? It looks like, you know, like the smell.
That's what we're going to talk
What
about.
happens if we touch it? Like mercury is stuff in the thermometers, right?
Now, mercury can be found in thermometers. It can be found in thermostat switches because mercury is actually a conductive metal. It's also something that does not dissolve salt, sugar, or plastic because you can see those were sitting in there. But what can happen in a mercury switch, if there were two wires connected here, when the mercury switch actually turns, the mercury metal would conduct the electricity and a light would come on or a heater would come on. Yes?
No. Alright, my insane 7th grade science teacher said that they used to take it out and roll it up in balls and bounce it. Little wings.
And actually the picture that I've got that actually looks like a guy holding water is a guy picking up liquid mercury with his bare hands. In the past, mercury was used for a number of things, and yes, what we're talking about is mercury dangerous or not? So yes, to some degree, mercury is dangerous. You can get mercury poisoning. That is what my presentation is about. But the mercury that was being talked about that's in the fish that they cause for concern for mercury poisoning is actually methyl mercury, which is what we've got down here. And we're going to talk about how bacteria change mercury into methyl mercury, which is different from the mercury that you see the guy holding with his hands. And actually what that picture is on the side there, that is a guy sitting on top of a pool of liquid mercury. Mercury is so dense that a human will not sink into mercury if they go to jump into a pool of it. They would stay on the surface. Just like a water bug can stay on the surface of water without getting wet, this guy can sit on top of a pool of liquid mercury without actually going in.
His clothes aren't even wet?
Mercury is not something like you saw with the salt and the sugar. It's not a matter of getting wet. It's not wet like you think. It is a liquid, but water is something that you know that is wet. It adheres to things. Mercury is not adhering to anything. Now, how does mercury actually get into the environment and cause a concern for us? Well, there's a couple of ways that can happen. One, you can see up here on the map, there are a number of mines in California where mercury is naturally found. Those would be gold mines and mercury mines. Any water areas near those types of mines would naturally be at risk for getting mercury into them. But here in the Midwest and the East Coast, another way that mercury can get into fish is through non-point source pollution. Okay? A point source would be an actual localized spot where the mercury is contaminating the area. Mercury is actually a byproduct of using coal-fired power plants. Mercury is naturally found in low concentrations inside of coal. When the coal gets burned, the mercury turns into a vapor and goes up into the air in clouds. Now, mercury is also found in things like compact fluorescent lights and regular fluorescent lights. How many of you have any of those at home by chance? How many of you have ever had one of those burn out before, by chance? What did you do with it? Threw it away. In the trash?
Outside, like we put it like in the outside trash. Like,
Put it in the outside trash.
well, like we're not keeping it in like the trash cans in the house though.
Okay, but actually there's a recycling program for compact wearables. So you take those to Walmart and they'll actually recycle them, or other places like Lowe's and Home Depot. Those places will recycle them. If you're throwing them away, they will eventually make their way to a landfill, and in a lot of cases, consumer waste gets burnt. Landfills burn waste to reduce the volume. And if that's the case, then that mercury is getting released into the atmosphere. This creates a major problem. The three highest emissions of mercury come from burning coal for power and water utilities, burning coal inside of people's homes, and from burning waste. And what this does in the Midwest and on the East Coast is creates a large amount of mercury being deposited in the atmosphere. I got this map from the United States Geologic Survey, and they're showing the concentration in the air of mercury by area. You can see that the largest areas are actually starting from about the Mississippi River and heading towards the east. Part of that would be because that's the way that the wind blows. If you think about it, the wind blows from the west to the east. So any deposits that would actually start somewhere in this area would all affect this area over here. Now, how mercury actually gets into the food cycle is through bacteria. When the fossil fuel burning, when the coal burning and the waste incinerators burn the mercury and create it as a vapor, it will go into the clouds and then will rain down.
Ooh.
Now, any watershed would collect and pool that mercury then. So, in the Great Lakes region, anything that would eventually start here would work its way to Lake Erie. We are part of the Great Lakes watershed.